You two are too handsome. We know we're handsome. Not as handsome as you, though. Especially when you had green hair. All right. I think we have 10 people here in here. So
Start it up.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you guys want to go to either our blog, egophoto / blog,
Just a blob.
then you guys can just follow along. We have some pretty cool shots. Mark got some really cool shots on this one, so we'll just kind of talk through it.
So just to start us off, this was May 17th of last month. West Haven Beach, Taylor and Vinny, they are both from West Haven, and they wanted to go to West Haven Beach, so we went. We're going to flip the camera around now and start talking about some pics. So hopefully you can kind of see that. Let me move it to the right a little bit. There we go. So egophoto.com/blog. If you want to join us on YouTube, come chat with us on YouTube. You'll be the first person ever to join us on our YouTube chat. So that would be exciting. So if you want to be the first person to type in our chat, go to youtube.com/egophoto. Anyway, I'm going to skip this part here. If you want to read it, you can. Here's the beautiful two people here. We're going to be shooting their wedding next year. So the first two pictures are pretty simple. For engagement shoots, they're usually no longer than 2 hours long. Anywhere from usually 90 minutes is kind of like our runtime. So we'll start off very easy because people, they haven't really taken professional photos before, so we have to make sure that they feel comfortable in front of the camera. So it's the most basic picture that you can take is literally just like standing there, look at the camera, and smile. That's how we kind of start the majority of our engagement shoots, and then from there we get into the more challenging stuff for them to do. Just kind of sitting down. Nice little photo there. This one, I'll start with. I kind of want to talk a little bit about. So I'm sure if you've been following us, you've seen Esteban's pictures of the slow motion bridesmaid walking in front of the camera, and then the bride's kind of staying still. So I've been thinking about this photo for a while, and I had just bought the new Manfrotto B-Free tripod. Thank you, J-Ro. And I wanted to do more composites and incorporate a lot of different elements of the picture. So I had this idea in my head where I pretty much knew exactly what I wanted to do with this picture. So I knew I wanted to get some motion, and I knew I wanted the final image for them to be like still. And I saw this scene right here where it was pretty symmetrical. So the way that I took this picture is I think the shutter was at like 1/5 of a second to kind of get each movement here. I just clicked like 3 times and then had them, when they kissed, kind of hold it so they didn't move at all. It was at f/16 because it was basically broad daylight out. So I had to, I think it was ISO 50. So basically 1/5 of a second, ISO 50, f/16. I didn't have an ND filter with me. I wish I did, because f/16 you can pretty much see every single little detail. If I do this picture again in the future, I'm going to try to shoot it at like f1.4, f2, and then maybe composite like a first look or something like that. I think they had them do it twice to kind of get the different motion here. And then in Photoshop, I basically painted in each individual frame, because this is 4 different photos. So it's a composite of 4 images. So like 1, 2, 3, and then 4 of them kissing. And then cropped. I didn't really want to get this stuff up here, so I just kept it like all nice, like wide shot, like there, symmetrical. So that's how we did that photo. This one here, Esteban, I could talk about because this is his picture.
It's just a simple Magmod shot. Just we use a mag sphere for it, which I think we talked about last week. Just very simple, just having them look at the camera. I'm sorry, having them look at each other, and the Magmod is up here somewhere. This could have probably been edited out a little bit, but it's not that huge of a deal. But yeah, it's just a very simple shot. I did like the way that this building separates the sky. So it's almost like a layered shot where you have this, and then you have this layer here, and then you have the sky. So when you look at the shot by itself, it actually it looks kind of cool because it has the big separation between them. So
Scroll a little down. You can kind of maybe like frame it. Go back up now.
oh yeah,
See the whole thing.
yeah. So it's got like the 3 layers. I like the whole layer thing. So that should be fine. Yeah, it's good.
Oh, back to the other picture. Go back up. The one you're talking about. Here's zoom back in. So I was standing behind. I was the one holding the light. So I was standing on the. Looks like the.
It was right. So you're right here because I could see this.
Oh, yeah.
I should probably
So-
leave that out, but
I was basically standing on that pole holding the sphere thing. So I'm gonna flip it around real quick. So if you guys don't know, we use the MagMod system for flash modifiers. So all it is, it's like this big magnet thing. It's got 2 really thick magnets here, and then this sphere thing here to kind of soften up the light a little bit, and just kind of it's a magnet, so it just goes around there. So all I was just holding it
hi
like
Goose.
this, and then pointing it down at them. That's pretty much it. All right, back to the pics. Flip it around. There we go. Here, another simple shot. Them just kind of getting acclimated to being in front of the camera. We're holding hands, just looking at the camera. Pretty simple stuff here. This is another Esteban shot.
This one I like because I really like these pillars here, whatever these are, and I've been really trying. So a lot of my work is very flat, so it's very like just them looking at each other and just really focusing on them with a darker surrounding. And I've been trying to get away from that a little bit. So I've been really trying to focus on leading lines. So for this one, I got down on the ground. I shot it with the 135 millimeter 1.8 Sigma Art, and I had Mark up here, and I mean it was just again just a simple just pointed at them. I think the essence of the shot is just mostly the way that it's shot. So you're essentially just pointing the magma right at them, and then you're using high speed sync in order to make sure that the surroundings are nice and dark, because it essentially is the style that we shoot in. So we like to shoot at high speed sync for most of the stuff that we do, so that we can take away all this light coming in. So that the focus is really on them. So J-Ro, compared to big octobuses, do you feel the magmas are harsher,
Harsher, yeah.
sorry?
Definitely way more harsher.
Yeah, they're so the thing with the reason why we like using the Westcott, the softbox, is because it is a softer light. I don't like using Magmod for indoors because of that reason, because the light is very harsh. So when you look at, can I see that thing? So when you look at something like this is comparable to something like a reflector on a flash. So this is extremely harsh, and I don't typically like using it indoors. For indoors, I do like to have a much softer light, which would come from something like a softbox.
When you're so far away from the couple, it's not that noticeable, because I mean, the thing is like the shadows are so harsh with this thing. But if it's they're kind of far away from the camera, it's not like a huge deal. So softbox isn't really necessary. But if you're doing more close-up stuff, you should definitely try to think about using a softbox, like a 26-inch rapid box that we use.
Yeah.
We got a comment over there if you want to read it over there. I'll keep going here. So that was that shot, and I was standing over here with holding the light on a stick. Here is my shot. Again, we used the what do you call it? The Magmod thing over here. Esteban was actually standing right here in this picture. He had to get really close because it was still kind of bright out, and it was at full power. And I just photoshopped him out of the picture right here. So I exposed for the background. I wanted to get the cool clouds. If I just exposed for their faces, then this would have been entirely white. So I knew I had to capture the texture in the sky and then add the light back in to light them up there. Here's a nice little collage. So I was standing on a rock for all these few pictures here, and I was like, usually would tell them, put her in a chokehold, and you usually get a good reaction out of that. So that was like the initial shot here. And then, telling Vinny to, either like attack her face and kiss her or do something like that. And he just went for it and got some really cool reactions here. So we put them all, nice little collage right there. Here's just them walking toward the beach. Just tell them to walk away from the camera. There was maybe like 6 or 7 people on the pier, but I just photoshopped them out to kind of get rid of them. Here is another shot with the MagMod system, not with the sphere. I'll show you in 1 second what it is. So basically, I knew I wanted to have Vinny as like the star of this picture because sometimes the guys don't get enough love. So basically, I had him look to the left in one picture, and Esteban held the light, and then had him look directly at the camera here. So I'm gonna flip around and show you real quickly. So the other ones were using this thing. If you just tuned in, that was with this little soft light thing. But for those other shots, I believe I used the grid for the color one. So the grid just kind of cuts the light and it's more directional. And then for the black and white one, I had used this. It's called a snoot. The light just comes out of like this little hole right there, and it's very, very shallow, and it basically just like barely lit his face up. So
Hey, MF Digital, it says you use monitors for a bigger image before you get back to computer. I'm
like
not
when
sure
I'm taking,
what.
oh, like on location, I guess. No, we just kind of use the yours is an EVF, right? The EA50.
No.
You can't see it in the
a
picture?
DSLR. No.
Oh.
No.
So with the Sony, what the benefit of using a Sony is that you can look into the viewfinder and see a pretty like a blown up version of it. So I love using Sony stuff, but no, we don't use what do you call it?
Yeah, no like external monitors or anything like that. So we do like to bring a lot of equipment, and I think a monitor would just add to the weight and it'd probably be too much. So.
Where's my Sony shooters at in here?
No,
Let's start that.
Garbage.
Let's start that.
The beer is back. Yes, Anovia. The beer is back. Hi, Nick.
Did we
Hi,
miss
Marielle.
something? We'll take a quick break. Did we miss anything?
I might have to check out the MagMod. Yeah, I would definitely recommend the MagMod. I'm not a huge, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of it for indoors, but basically I would probably just stick with the Softbox for inside and then the MagMod. Do you always shoot with both of you for engagement shoots? Yeah, we're both
Most of the
always
time, yeah.
there, unless somebody gets videography. Mark is the videography person. He's
I still
the
show
one
up
that leads.
I still shoot the engagement shoot pictures though.
Right. So for weddings, if somebody were to get videography, then Mark would lead videography. I lead photography, and we do work with a number of second shooters that help us out. So
We encourage all of our couples to get engagement photos. It's just a really, it's a good time to get to know them and for them to get to know us and to kind of have them practice before the day of, because we've done weddings where we just show up and meeting them for the first time, and it's kind of awkward and it's really difficult to make them feel comfortable and also deal with like the stress of a wedding. So we always recommend engagement shoots for all of our couples here.
all right. So next shot is more of like just a dramatic. I really like the way that the clouds looked that day. And again, this was shot with the MagSphere. I mean, a good rule of thumb with this stuff is just hold it high up, and especially when you're trying to create shadows and shoot in the style that we shoot in, just hold it high up and just almost like let it rain on the subject. You want to create either a 45-degree angle, and then just hold it above their head so that it creates those shadows underneath their faces. I think this was shot at like f/16 or something like that, where the main focus is to make sure that you get the detail in the clouds. I thought it was really cool. So you just expose for the clouds, you make sure that all the detail is in there, and then you just introduce the flash and you flash them. Now a good thing about shots like these, I don't think I did it here, but when you are shooting at f/16, if you don't introduce the flash, you'll get a silhouette. So you can get 2 shots in a matter of seconds. So you just get your silhouette, and then you introduce the flash to get that. So you're able to get two pretty cool shots.
I think the flash I was holding the flash camera right here because she's lit up and he's not.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Here's another Esteban shot.
So this one's kind of complicated. This is one that I'll go over in a lot of detail during my workshop. Well, usually what I'll do is, was this with a prism or my phone?
Your phone.
So this was with my phone. So basically, you just hold the phone up to your lens. I think this was shot with the 35 millimeters, a 35
Was it
millimeter
there
1.4.
Might have been my Prism. I think you used my Prism. I don't remember.
Yeah, so I mean, you can either use a prism or you can use a a phone. So you just hold it up to your lens, and as long as you have enough of a reflection, I don't think I brought the the straight out of camera, but I can post it in our story after we finish up here. But basically, you just want to make sure that
Mhm.
the this reflection is there. As long as you have some data from here, then you should be good. This looks nothing like what the straight out of camera looks like. So basically, I had to bring it into Photoshop, or you could actually probably do this in Lightroom. You can just use a brush and just put the exposure up to like 5 and just delete all this stuff that's around them. So when you delete all this stuff, you could bring it into Photoshop. The other thing that I usually, hey Moby, the other thing that you usually have to do with a shot like this, or that I like to do with a shot like this, is that you use 2 different presets on top of each other, and that actually, I did that by mistake once, and it actually worked out really well. So it was a pretty good mistake because I ended up using it a lot. So when I used small 1 and small 8, I believe, and what that does is just layers the presets on top of each other, and in order to get that reflection, then we use. I mean, I'm sure everybody knows what a prism looks like, but that's I think either that or a phone. They both pretty much work the same anyway. So
basically, you just put the prism underneath the lens, and then kind of find out where it goes, and then so you can kind of see right there. It's reflecting right below it. That's pretty much it. Or you just take the phone and put it right back there.
did you mean to go in there?
I was gonna pull something up there. Anything else? Daily Vinny. There it is. On to the next. This is your shot.
Again, this
one more thing with the prism is if you buy them, get it on Amazon and get the glass ones because the plastics don't really give the same effect. So glass is the way to go. We're black now. What happened? Can you guys still see us? What's up, Mike? We can't see anything. It went black. I don't know what happened. Might have to restart the stream.
Yeah, we'll
be right back.
We'll be right back. Sorry, guys. Goddamn Roxanne. Sure. Sorry about that, guys. My wife called me.
How
So
dare
it's her
she?
fault. Alright, we'll wait for everybody to join back in. I think there was maybe 11 or 12 people in.
What's up, Amy? Arkansas, nah.
No.
Let's go. You got
Let's
one?
do it. We don't really do too much of the whole destination thing. I feel like a lot of do you always use artificial light? Sorry, new follower, not 100% how you work. No, but we use it for a good portion of it. I mean, we use it when, I like to say that we like to use it creatively. So if we think of something cool that we want to do, we typically do like to use it for that. And then for receptions, we'll use it just to kind of light up the venue. But
We probably didn't do any of this off-camera lighting stuff for the first 3-4 years, maybe, probably 4. I mean, we kind of experimented, like putting the light behind the people to kind of get, like Ruzen said, that's how we got the profile photo. It's just like one single light, blasting light toward the camera.
which one's our profile photo?
The black and white one. of Liz and Jared.
Oh yeah, so that's almost the same concept as go back to the.
This one here.
It's almost like the same pose as go up that one. It's almost the same pose as that. It's like that there.
Mm-hmm.
The only difference is that instead of making it white, since it was at night, then you just make it darker. So you want to erase the surroundings with all black. So grab your brush in Lightroom and you just make everything dark around them. So you're using one of these grids. You're using one of these grids to really pinpoint the light to just our faces, and then just any surroundings you just darken out with a brush set all the way down to like -5 exposure. And then again, you do the same thing that I did with that one. You have to apply 2 presets in order to make it have that look to it. So, in applying 2 presets, it's just a matter of just going into Photoshop and then saving it back into Lightroom, which then creates a TIFF file, and then you can apply a second preset to it. So, for that one, I think I used two.
Could you do
Two
could
black
you
and
do
white
your edits, create a virtual copy, and then apply a preset to the virtual copy without having to go to Photoshop?
No, because the virtual copy already has. It's just a virtual copy of the raw. So once you apply it, it just overrides the first preset. So you actually have to take it out
And bring it back in.
You can bring it into Photoshop.
Yeah, I know, but
And then do opacity on the stuff. So what are we at?
I think we're here. So this
Yeah.
is basically the kind of same thing we were just talking about. So
Oh yeah.
this was Esteban's shot. I think he told him go in for a kiss, but don't actually kiss. So kind of hold it there, and then the light was behind the two of them, and then pointed kind of like up at them to kind of get the shadows underneath here. And then in order to get the profile photo shot, you would just go into Lightroom and bring your shadows to like -100 basically, and then that's pretty much it. Here's a simple shot of the two of them walking, and here the sun was kind of setting behind them, so this was exposed for the background and lit with the 26-inch softbox. So this is a case where if that guy's still in here, where it's better to use the softbox because it is a more flattering light source. So the light was till the camera left, Esteban was holding light, and then I just had her stand behind him and then kind of look right at the camera and get a nice smiling picture right there. And also kind of get some color in the sky. It didn't come out that great, the color at least, but it is what it is. Here's a nice wide shot. What can I talk about here? Oh, so originally my idea was to composite this photo. In one of the images, Esteban was standing here with a light to kind of light them up. And then when I also took this one without any light, and I realized when I got back to the computer that it looked really, really fake. So I just kind of brought up the shadows. It was pretty dark. I think it was either this one. Oh yeah. So this might have been the original here. Yeah. So this was the original, pretty dark, and then I photoshopped out these things in the final image here, and this is like the final picture. I think actually I also photoshopped out these rocks.
What ISO is that? It's 200 ISO. So
These are
that's
my settings right there. 1/800, 200 ISO, f2. And yeah, I think those rocks didn't make the cut. Yeah, because a little too distracting. It's just like some whoops, that was the wrong one. Just some like black things right there, kind of. You can. So they look evenly lit versus I think a picture where I can't. There it is. So like it just looks too fake in my opinion. And just one smiling at the camera. Hello. With the light. That's basically the setup that we were using with the light on the stick to kind of light them up, but it just looked too fake. So.
Amy, no, that was not. I think that was. What was that?
That
was a 35 Zeiss.
Beautiful lens here. And this is Esteban's shot here. We gotta rotate it.
This one was shot with my favorite lens, the 58mm one. Oh no, I'm sorry. I think this was the 135.
Was it? You were on the ground.
Or maybe the 85. I have no idea what we shot.
Is either 35, 135, 105, 85.
So basically, it could have been every lens that I ever used in my entire life. But one of the the best pieces of advice that that I've received or that I've heard are get high, get high, get low, get far, get close. So if you're shooting a pose, and it's something that's interesting, you want to get a high angle, a low angle, a far angle, and a close angle. Usually, when I'm far and you're shooting with a long focal length, you want to be down on the ground. I love being able to show a foreground. And we were just walking by this area, and we saw some of the flowers on the ground, and I usually I mean it wasn't the best. Yeah, I know, Jose. It wasn't the best looking spot, but you can hide it with compression, and you can hide it with a long focal length. I wish I had a behind the scenes of what it looked like, because it's not. I mean, it's just basically just a field with the trees in the background. It wasn't anything fancy, but
If you've been to West Haven Beach, it's the parking lot right next to the Bradley Point, basically. So you know exactly what that looks like. And what's cool, because why I like it is this whole area, it's like leading lines up to them, and then they're in like the negative space of the clouds here, and this is all kind of blocked out here. So I really like this picture here.
so yeah. So you just got really. I mean, I would think I was on the ground here, so you have to be willing to get on the ground and get your clothes dirty, but it's definitely worth it because I mean, just like in most photography, you want to have an interesting foreground, a subject, and a background. So and I really like the way that the trees frame them. So they're in the clouds. If you place them to the right where the trees are, it probably wouldn't have worked as well. So I purposely put them there where the lines of the trees kind of lead your eyes to it. So yeah.
It's also your shot.
Same thing here. Again, these were all shot with I'm pretty sure it was a 58, but I could be wrong. But they're shot with the same off-camera flash system that we were just talking about, the MagMod with the MagSphere.
Bunch of comments over there.
I like the split.
And it's pretty much exposed for the sky in order to capture the ambient. I mean, if you're not using off-camera lighting, then this picture is basically not possible, because you would lose all of the color and the texture in the sky if you're just exposing for your subjects. So that's definitely, they're basically in the dark right here. They're the same brightness as these rocks. So if you're not using off-camera lighting, then here's a good reason why you might need to start thinking about it, is to kind of get shots like this, with the colors and the texture and stuff like that.
Well, the 58 is actually my favorite lens ever. So I'm kind of biased toward the 58. So and the 58 is also, I mean, you can buy like 15 of the 50s for the same price that of the 58. So it's definitely an investment. It's not the cheapest lens, but I think it does have a somewhat of it has much more character in the photos, especially when you're shooting it wide open. The backgrounds are beautiful. But I would say if you were to choose from both, then I would go with the 58. Hi, Blue Lace.
Hello. Back to here. Resume a little bit. So this is like a silhouette shot. So,
oh, guys, Roxanne joined.
Oh, hey, Roxy.
Yeah, she's the reason why we had to get off. Because she called me when she knows that we were going live at 7:30. Yeah. Nice job, Rox.
Maybe she missed you. So this was intentionally shot with them shadowed. You know, the silhouettes, you always want to have like a nice shape. So either them holding hands or kind of like kissing, or their hands over the shoulders. Is a good idea for silhouettes. If they're just pressed up against each other, it's kind of hard to tell that it's two different subjects. So this is, I wanted to capture the colors of the sky here. So I'll show you before and after here. So how do you rotate this thing? I'll just slide it over. It's okay. So this is the before, and then a bunch of color changes and bring out the orange here. And then I think I also got rid of some, no, not in this image. Maybe one of these. Some of the like distracting lights that were there. Yeah, so these got photoshopped out in the final image. I don't think I put this one on the blog though. This one here, another silhouette, And then back to this one again. Rotate it back this way. Here, what metering would you use for that shot? For this shot, it's called basically just it's trial and error. I mean, we're shooting manual. We have an idea of like what we kind of want to achieve. So I mean, the thought process, I guess, is exposed for the background in silhouette is the picture that I wanted to create. So then start with ISO at the lowest, kind of that I can get away with. F2.2. I kind of wanted to like make some of this stuff fall off the background. I think this got photoshopped out when I delivered it to them. These lights also got photoshopped out. And then just kind of guessing, trial and erroring to get shutter speed until you get an image that you are happy with.
I would recommend using spot metering and just point the center focus point to the sky. That's probably the easiest way to get an exposure where you're just going to be able to meter to the sky. So just point the camera to wherever you're going to expose to. So if you want the sky to come out, then have spot metering and point at the sky and wait until it's properly exposed, and then everything else is going to be dark, sort of like that.
This way. Another one here, and then the last one here. Is it the last one or second to last one? No, second to last one or third to last one. So here, just wanted to. This was like at the end. We were actually on the way out. We were kind of leaving, and then we saw the colors in the sky, so we knew we had to capture the sky. So if adding light here, it's going to be really tricky to make it look natural. So I mean, you kind of just have to get silhouettes here with these. What time do you guys shoot the photos? So this one was. Oh, my clocks are way off here. It was probably, I don't know, what time do you think it was? It was past sunset, obviously. Sun's gone in this picture here. So again, this is the before here.
That was probably around 8 o'clock.
And then the after. Just kind of kept them silhouetted here. That one shot of them walking, where is that one? That one I want to talk about. I gotta find it. I don't know where it is. I'll skip that one for now. This one here, again, same pose, but a little brighter for them. To kind of lose some of the color in the sky, but in order for them to be bright, you have to kind of give and take thing here. So basically, brighten them up. Her dress was actually blue in this picture, but so I had to go into Photoshop and remove the blueness of her dress because of changing the temperature sliders and making adjustments and stuff like that. Hi, Mom. My mom's here. Here's that image. Let's copy one. Where is the original? Anybody have any questions? Anything we can answer for you guys? Okay, yeah, here we go. So this image here, right here, so it was able to retain some of the color of the sky. I mean, it was kind of difficult to get something that I was really happy with. So this is the let me turn it this way a little bit. This is the raw, and I shot it intentionally underexposed to capture as much detail in the sky as I could. And I really wanted to. This is on the Sony A7 III. I really wanted to test out the capabilities of the raw processing, and I know that dynamic range is really good on the Sony. So this is what the recovered photo was. I don't know if you can really tell on the screen there, but it actually did a really good job of bringing everything back. I did a lot of work on this image here, but I think something that is kind of important here is I think I changed the gradient graduated filter on the sand because the sand was like blue. Trying to find out where it was. Yeah, here it is.
So this is actually a really good question. How do you avoid the subject looking muddy from bringing up the shadows in this way? So the one thing that I would recommend is use the absolute lowest native ISO that your camera has. I know that in my Nikon D850 it's 64. It says
YouTube died. Oh well.
So use the lowest ISO that your camera. If you're underexposing and you're going to be recovering shadows, using the lowest ISO is the best way to get most detail without introducing any like color noise or anything like that. So with the D850, it's ISO 64. So if you shoot in a fairly dark environment and you shoot at ISO 64 and it's very underexposed, you should be able to bring that up because of the obviously with the shooting raw, then you should be able to recover a lot of that. But yeah, if you shoot in a high ISO, you're going to be introducing a lot of noise already in the image before even bringing the exposure up. So you're better off shooting at the low ISO. One thing I do want to mention is that when you're shooting with low ISO and you're recovering shadows, Nikon, Sony, and Fuji cameras have something called an invariant ISO sensitivity sensor or something like that. I know the word invariant is in there somewhere, which means that the recovery of shadows is much better than something like a Canon camera. So that's where like the whole thing where like Canon doesn't have any dynamic
Canon's
range.
trash.
Right, but I mean, when you shoot raw, you should be able to recover a lot, no matter what. But Sony, Fuji, and Nikon do have a much better range when it comes to dynamic range. So yeah, Team Nikon.
Get out of here. So just really quickly. So yeah, we started here, and then kind of did some temperature changes. So I think this is the original color temperature here. I just set it auto. Shooting raw is a huge deal. Kind of figure out where you want it here, and then added some brightness here, and then graduated filter here to kind of bring the color back into the sand, because sand is not blue. It's more like a yellowish. It's kind of hard to tell from the screen there what I'm doing here, but basically adding graduated filters to kind of retain the sky detail, maybe bring it a little more blue, stuff like that, kind of something like that. And then so this is like what it looks like before and after. That's before, the after. Not too much noise. Still looks pretty good. So I was really happy with this, the way that Sony handled this image, and that's pretty much how we delivered it, I think.
Low ISO is key for that.
And get a Sony, kind of helps. Just kidding. Revealing the magic behind the sorcery. Yeah, I mean, we are at a point now where we feel that we need to give back to people. That was ISO 200. So when we first started, there really wasn't that many resources, or maybe we just didn't know about them. So we feel that we're at a stage now where we want to start giving back to people that and giving back to the community, so we can help you guys out and become better photographers, and then so we can be jealous of your work. So that's really our goal, is to kind of help as many people as we can. So that's why we're doing live streams. We're going to do some YouTube stuff. If you guys don't know, right now we're also streaming on YouTube. If it's still alive, yeah, it's still alive, right? We've got 3 viewers on YouTube, so youtube.com/egophoto. We're going to be posting some actual videos, not just like live streams, but tutorials, behind the scenes, more Lightroom stuff. Whatever you guys want to see, let us know. We can try to record. If you really like the way that a certain image is done, we can really go into it. I mean, for the most part, it's we don't mind talking about stuff like that. Esteban does run a workshop. It's not just like one simple trick and this is it, but it's a really in-depth thing about using like the off-camera lighting and how to get the best images that way. So it really is a good investment.
July 15th. Mark your calendar. There's only 3 spots left, so if you're anywhere near West Hartford, Connecticut, there's only 3 spots left. Thank you. What else do we have? Just hire me as an assistant. Actually, our assistant is in the chat right now, so
you have to
Jose,
fight him,
if you guys want to talk it over, feel free to let them know whether you want to take a day off or not. I think you're in New York, right, Lanny? How to pronounce your name? Sorry. Driving from Toronto. Woo! You're coming from. Wow, that's amazing. Oh yeah, I did see that. We have Toronto, New Hampshire, I think Vermont, New York. I think there's only two people from. I think there's there's only two people from Connecticut so far. So a lot of out of state. Shooting one the day before too. Oh wow, that's dedication. I think. Oh, actually, there's someone that's coming from New Hampshire that's shooting a wedding in Rhode Island. So they have a pretty busy weekend, just like you. How long of a drive is it from Toronto to Connecticut? Have you checked that out yet? Shooting a wedding day before.
If anybody's on YouTube still, can you tell us how the audio quality is? We have a different microphone going into the computer for that. I'd love to know how that sounds.
7.5 hours. It's a long drive. Lemuel, the link is in, I believe it's in the
bio.
The bio for our Instagram. So if you sign up, it's $400. It's $200 retainer to reserve your spot. But yeah, I mean, I think you're in New York, so you have absolutely no excuse. You have someone coming from
where is it again?
A different country.
West Hartford.
It's in West Hartford, so.
Yeehaw.
So it's probably about a 2.5 hour drive from New York, 3 hours maybe.
Yeah.
It's the upper part of the state, so.
But it's worth it. Good audio. Awesome.
Nice. Any other questions or anything before we wrap things up? I know some new people are joining, and we pretty much just finished going through the photos, so.
We hopefully, if the stream recorded properly to my computer, we will have a HD quality recording of this on our YouTube page.
Oh, it's the second best looking photographer in Connecticut, Brian Mack Photography.
So if you go to our YouTube page, I don't know, we're gonna have a link to that so people can know, but yeah, it's like a nice wide screen of us. Wait, we're picture in picture. I guess I'll see what you could see what's over here basically, because you can't see it in the video. Brian Mack, what's going on? The YouTube page is the same as our Instagram name, youtube.com/egophoto. There's really nothing on there right now. We kind of just hit all of the old video stuff like that. We do videography as well, but we don't use YouTube anymore because of the whole copyright claims, and it's too much of a hassle. The quality is not that great, so we do use Vimeo, but I don't think you can stream live on Vimeo. I've never seen that before. Maybe you can, but we're gonna be doing YouTube stuff. So
we really need to see more of you guys.
Who's we? Laney.
Yes.
CPD.
You're not doing a very good job at becoming our assistant, so.
We are going to try to do a live stream every Thursday, as long as we don't have a wedding or something, or a meeting. But we'll try not to schedule any meetings or shoots for Thursdays. But if this works for you guys, then it works for us. 7:30 every week. We'll try to do something, and it's good because it keeps us keep posting stuff on the blog to talk about. I know we.
It's a good way for us to actually force ourselves to blog things, which I think last year we blogged maybe like
once.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
It's a good way to keep us on track with our blogs. So we'll try to post the blogs maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, and then we'll post a reminder about the blogs, and then we'll post a reminder about the live stream. So you guys will be sick of us hopefully in a month. But yeah, go to our YouTube page, subscribe, and hit the bell icon, subscribe. I just turned into one of those people.
Blogging is tedious. It's very, but it's a good way for us to structure our week. We know that on Tuesday we want to make Tuesday or Wednesday we want the blog up, and then because we know that we need to discuss it on Thursday. So, but yeah, I mean it's tough to get yourself into a schedule where you know that it needs to go up every week, and and we're wedding photographers. We're busy all week. We're doing weddings every weekend. We're doing meetings. We're phone calls, emails. I mean, that's the toughest part of the job, is to be able to stay consistent with um with everything other than shooting. Which um, how many weddings are we shooting this year?
Close to 40.
41?
Yeah,
40?
something like that. Plus second shooting for other people. Whenever they need us, we usually go step in. So stay busy. Plus engagement shoots. Each couple usually gets an engagement shoot with their packages. So we do an engagement shoot for all them, plus their wedding, plus the blogs. So we're 2 for 2. So next week will be the test of 3 for 3.
Yeah.
If we can post a blog. I believe we don't want to blog about. Do you want to blog about another engagement shoot or a wedding? What do you guys want to see? Another wedding or an engagement shoot? Because we have 2. I think we need to. We have 2 that we did. We did Marissa and Max.
That was pretty.
And then we did one more.
Leanna and Brian is a pretty good wedding.
Yeah.
I like that wedding. Wedding? Vote for wedding.
Yeah, we get Leanna and Brian's
Wedding.
wedding.
Yeah, we have a really, really nice wedding we did a few weeks ago. You guys are as handsome as you are talented.
Aw, thank you.
That was the best thing I ever heard.
I saw Mama today.
Love to know more prompts for couples in general.
More prompts. So we have the kind of a routine that we go through. The thing about being a photographer is not just about taking pictures. It's about being interesting and making your clients react to certain things. Like I was actually just going through some pictures from the Cape Cod wedding, and there's a very distinct difference between 2 photos that I can't wait to talk about because I really like the way that they came out. But there was a...
Well, don't show them if we're going to talk about them in 2 weeks.
Oh, I'll give them a sneak preview. There's a difference between like just having them smile for a camera and then just...
Not the best lens ever at all.
What's Jose saying? I'm trying to find this picture.
He's saying the Yongnuo 1.8 is his best lens ever. Said no one.
Why is it so dark?
Yeah, so basically, when it comes to prompts, I think we've gotten to a point where we have a routine where where we know what we want to tell people in order to get a reaction out of them. So you're posing someone, you're directing someone into getting your initial shot that you have in your head, and then you want to get your personality into it. So once you get your personality, you want to get the in between moment. So if you prompt someone to do a certain pose, I usually like to just do like a joke or something that's going to get a natural reaction out of them. So you get two or three good shots out of it, where you'll do the pose that you have in your head, and then you say a joke or you say something. That's where I think when it comes to being a photographer, a good portion of it is having a personality. And if people that know me, actually, I'm a pretty mellow guy. I'm pretty serious. Some people call me pretty intimidating because I'm not. I'm very serious. But when I'm during weddings, I try to be a goofball. I try to become a person where I'm gonna be fun. I'm gonna make them laugh. And while you're making them laugh, you're catching the in between moments, and those are the ones that people would call the candidates and stuff like that. So, but I do like a good balance of like the shots like this one back here, or any of the ones that we have. If you go on our website, a lot of them are posed photos, but they're also getting the ones that are in between, where you're kind of getting a smile out of them or a chuckle out of them. So
yeah, you can't take yourself too seriously, especially on a wedding day, because it's really not about you. I mean, you kind of have to do some self-depreciating humor.
It is about me,
and it's about him, but just kind of making them feel comfortable, because they're stressed out. It's a wedding, and you're stressed out because you have a bunch of pictures you got to do. But just try to get the reaction. If you don't want something funny or you want something serious, you kind of just have to I don't know. We can talk about it for hours. But this thing right here I want to talk about really quickly. But I guess I'll save like the in-depth stuff for the when we blog it. So this was a look at the camera and smile. She's like sitting on his lap here. I just told her to go in for a kiss, and it's nice. It's a nice smile here. But then I was like really go in and like again with the attack him thing. So when you tell somebody to attack somebody, you usually get them to like attack it. So this is the difference between like a smile and then it's very subtle. Difference between the two. Let me get rid of this here. It's pretty different.
5'11s.
It's pretty different because like he's smiling with his eyes versus his just a normal looking at the camera. You can kind of tell, and she's smiling as well. So like look at her face and look at his face between the two here. So yeah, now he's really like enjoying it. So that lighting though, yeah, that was all Jose. He was pretty sure he was eating a lobster roll at this time.
Yeah.
There's food right behind us, and yeah, he was going in on that food, and then he lost Esteban's lens. But that's another story.
Yes, he lost my 35mm Sigma, and then he sat around crying in the corner of the reception room because he thought he lost it, but we ended up recovering it. So I didn't have to fire him.
That is not the mag boob,
That's
aka the
softbox.
sphere. That's a 20. So there's a 26-inch. You can't really see where I'm pointing to. It's locked. Slide this. Oh god, I turned the computer off. There we go. So over here was a 26-inch softbox pointed right at his cheek, and then you can actually see it here because I didn't get to the Photoshop portion. But this little light right here, it's a gridded flash to light up the Cape Cod picture in the back right there because you couldn't see this without the second flash. So 2 lights, softbox, and then gridded flash behind him to light up the light back there. So pretty happy with the way that came out. This was the really cool image here. This is handed down from 3 generations, I think. So I got just like a picture here of what that looked like. So pretty cool picture there. So we definitely wanted to incorporate this like as soon as you walked in the house. So it was a really important part of the family. So we definitely had to include that in our pictures there. So that's pretty much it. Any other questions for us?
We're gonna be on until 8:30.
2:24. No.
So if you guys
anything else on the
have any
YouTube?
questions or anything,
Is YouTube still relevant? Is that a thing? We want 1 million subscribers by tonight. So you guys better get on it. The 9 people that are still in here. 2 lights.
Yes, that was
2
2
lights.
lights.
Softbox here, and then the gridded flash behind, pointed directly at the
picture or the frame.
Because if you just use the softbox, and I think Esteban took some with just the softbox, you can't see anything back there because it was dark in the room. So that you can see the light right there. That's the gridded flash pointed on an angle to kind of light up this and kind of create some like moody. It's too close. Some moodiness to the image there.
You still didn't answer my DM about blending overexposure you bought. I don't know what that is.
Kevo can't help you. I'm sorry.
I can try to look at my DMs, but I definitely don't remember getting anything like that.
Rapid Box is the 26-inch Westcott Rapid Box is probably our number 1 favorite modifier.
Is there a standard kit of lights you bring to every wedding? So we each have our own kit. So I typically only try to use 1 light, but I'll use more than 1 modifier. I'll use for 95% of the wedding, I'll use the Rapid Box, the 26-inch Rapid Box held by Jose. And then if I'm outside and I just want something that's a little bit less cumbersome, then I'll use the MagSphere, which
Do you
is...
lose light? Do you know if you lose light?
Huh?
Do you lose light using that thing?
This? I don't think so. I think
Because you lose a stop of light with a softbox, I think. But this, I don't know if you lose anything. Somebody can correct us if we're wrong on that.
So yeah, I'll bring 1 of these. Mark will bring 1 of them, and I also have 3 speed lights. And that's pretty much it. I mean, I usually Jose is holding the speed light or the half a stop light. Okay. Um, he'll he'll hold the speed light with a monopod. But yeah, three speed lights, the rapid box, Magmod system, and one of these guys. But most of the time, for pretty much 99% of our shots, I I I just use one light, so it can be held by this guy. Yes, you guys talk it out. We can even grab a ring or something. You could fight it out. Everyone, I'm Jose. Nice to meet you. Yeah, go follow Jose. He does pretty nice portraiture.
Yeah, Laney, definitely try out the softbox if you haven't used it yet. It's pretty clutch.
Yeah, actually I just ordered a new one, which is not a Westcott.
What?
It's actually a cheetah stand
What?
soup bowl. And it's the same size. It's $100, which I'm actually going to be giving one away for my workshop. It's $100 for the softbox. It comes with a grid, and it comes with a deflector plate. So the rapid box is actually $170 for just a rapid box, and it's $130 for the grid, and it's $20 for the deflector plate or reflector plate.
Or you could buy that cheap thing that I have.
What's that?
The beauty dish thing, the pop-up one.
Oh,
$20.
Yeah. So I would definitely. I mean, I don't know how the cheetah stand one is gonna be, but I'll let you guys know next week because it's coming in on Monday. So, yeah, it's essentially the same thing. It's the same way to set up where you just push in the center and it expands out. And I also bought a handheld reflector, the one that's like a small one that you just use to reflect light into it. So, do they pay well? I don't know, Jose. Tell them whether we pay well or not.
Is anyone else still in here, or is just Jose and Lanny just kind of arguing it out?
Wow, you're hired. You are hired.
Savannah, what up, Savannah? What happened to YouTube? Is it dead again?
No, my computer died.
Typical Apple products.
Yep.
Apple and Icon are the worst two companies in existence.
Hi, Savannah Photojude.
Sony
Tommy Tay.
and Lenovo are the way to go. I forgot what kind of laptop I had.
Yeah, so I think that pretty much does it. Make sure you guys come back next week, next Thursday at around the same time. We'll be going over a wedding, since that was what everyone voted on.
I think just one person voted on it.
I think it was definitely more than one person.
It's too far back. All right, wedding is. That's fine.
Yeah, so we're gonna be going over a wedding. Oh yeah, you're right. Kevin is our old light stand. What's up? All right, well, we're gonna get going. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Thanks, everybody.
Wait. So when lighting, what's the normal angle and proximity to subject? That's a good question. If you're shooting with a mag sphere, you want to be pretty far away because it is such harsh light. If you're shooting with the softbox, I actually, depending on the kind of shot that I want to get, I like to shoot at a very low power and very close proximity to subject. So if I'm getting portraits of the bride, then I'll get pretty close to it. Now, if you come to my workshop, you'll see how close I get to my details, and that's a whole different story. Like I'm pretty much touching the details with the softbox. That's how close I get to it. And I do like to shoot everything at high speed sync. So I think we've had conversations about the details, Lenny, though, on Facebook Wedding Photographers, where if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that was you. But yeah, details are a big part of the workshop. So what's the go-to lens? Details, all the details I shoot with a 35mm Sigma and a 60mm 2.8 Laowa, which is a pretty weird lens, but I love it. It's a very very good lens. But yeah, let's see. Yeah, it's actually really cheap. I think it's under $400. We talked about it last week. It's $379. It's very cheap. It's all manual, so it's tough to use. And then anything that's wide, I shoot with the 35 millimeter Sigma. Yep, that actually has a really good focusing distance. So when you're doing details, especially like the overhead, I don't know if you've seen like the overhead shoe shots that I get. If you're doing the overhead shoe shots that I get, then that's usually with the 35. If you shoot wide open and you shoot a high speed sync, it gives it a really nice look. You guys shoot primes throughout the ceremony. I shoot primes all day. I don't have a single zoom lens, so
Yeah, I use 35-85 combo pretty much the entire day, unless it's like a super wide. Then I'll switch to like the 16 to 35, just because that's what I have. So that's the only like time I'll use a zoom.
yeah, I use a 58 135 for pretty much all the ceremonies. I think that's a pretty good combo, and I do shoot them pretty much wide open. One thing that we covered last week is that we never shoot ceremonies with off camera flash, even though our style is kind of off camera flash oriented, but we don't do ceremonies with flash.
Yeah, the 100 macro, the Canon one, I still use. It's because it's the only macro I have. But the 2.8 L lens it's so sharp. I've done portraits with it. It's just phenomenal lens.
Yeah, the 100 millimeter is awesome.
The 85 1.4. I wish I still had Canon, because I would have bought that. I have the 1.2 and it's awful. It's a piece of junk.
What happens when the place is dark? You bump up your ISO. It's not. We don't like to distract from the ceremony. We did talk about another thing that we talked about last week was getting behind the priest, which is something that we don't like doing. We want to make sure that we do understand that it is a sacred ceremony. We don't want to distract it in any way, just to get a cool shot. We want to make sure that we just get the first kiss, the handing off of the bride, the walk down the aisle, and the walk back down the aisle after the ceremony. The exchange of rings is just shot with either 135 or 85, but typically we don't like to interfere with anything to do with the ceremony. So
it's kind of a cop out answer, but shooting full frame camera helps because of better noise, and any camera in the past 2 years can probably shoot well over 10,000 ISO with very little noise or still usable images. So it definitely helps having a newer camera. I mean, unfortunately, that's kind of the only real answer is better gear.
You must have hated the backlight shot of the father and bride. I don't think I saw that, so maybe you could send it to me so I could definitely not hire you.
I'm just imagining like somebody put a flash behind them, like we were just talking about, and like lighting them up.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. Don't even bother sending it to me.
No. Any other questions?
Actually, yeah, send it to me. I want to see it.
We're over
really
our time. Yeah. 60 seconds, and then we'll be gone until next week. We are off this weekend. We have actually a free weekend, so we're gonna be hanging out.
Wait, so is it? Did you put the flash behind the priest and the bride and the groom?
That sounds like something Jose would do. I feel like.
I don't think I want to see this shot.
I kind of do now.
Where does it say that we have 60 seconds?
I just made that up.
Oh. I have a venue I shoot a lot of weddings in. That's a barn with large glass windows, backlit sun. Yeah, that might be a situation. If it's a barn, then I'm talking about church weddings. We did a wedding a week ago where it was the same exact situation and we had to bring out flash. I'm just mostly talking about where if it's like a sacred ceremony where we don't want to really interfere with any of it, and so we definitely don't like to use off-camera flash inside a church. If we're doing a ceremony where it's under a tent or anything like that, then we definitely will use it if we have to use it.
So I think something I'm trying out next wedding is for like a first dance and entrances and stuff like that. Just using a grid kind of pointed at if this is like the subjects here, kind of like really up high and just lighting them up. If you have the backlit thing, if the light, I don't know how to like diagram this on the camera, but basically if these are subjects, the window's here and the light's coming through here, I would say like put the grid here, and then you can kind of shoot expose for the window, and then maybe use enough power to grid them, and then so light hits them from like the side, and you can kind of get some nice sides. You can kind of capture the color outside as well. I don't know if that will work or not, but I'm gonna try that next time.
Are you part of PPA? Yes, we are. That's where we have our we have PPA
Arkansas.
insurance.
Fly me out to Arkansas. I'll come help you out. Figure it out. How do you set up flashes in the church? Speed light, you don't. I mean, if you have to, only use it for the processional, and then that's pretty much it. I mean, in the worst case scenario, if it's horrible lighting.
Bye, Synovia. I bring a 16-foot trailer with grips and lights for the ceremony.
What?
16-foot trailer with grips and lights for the. Wow.
Not even
You
answer
have
that.
you have answer your wife's
Yeah.
text.
So we'll get off now, so you can go do that. Thanks everybody. Until next Thursday. See you then, and just stay tuned for the next blog post. And thanks for joining us. And subscribe, hit that, smash that like button on
Please.
youtube.com/egophoto. Like the
If you would wanna
broadcast
come to my service,
and subscribe to our channel, and you'll be notified when we post stuff.
yeah, that'd be awesome.
That's it.
Send us a message.
Hi, bro.
We'd love to
Bye, bro.
talk about that.
Nikolai.
Oh my god!
Just
Now we gotta
missed
stay
it.
for another hour.
Oh my
She's here.
god.
My favorite photographer in the world.
Me and Nikolai are starting a book club
Yeah,
together. Yeah. It's gonna be great.
it's not gonna be great.
It's gonna be awesome.
No.
What else?
Yellow. All right. Well, thanks for
So
coming on. Really.
Nikolai, go onto our YouTube page, because we're gonna upload this whole stream in its entirety. I think if it worked.
Well, it's gonna be on
To-
Instagram too.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
go on YouTube anyway, because we need YouTube subscribers. So youtube.com/egophoto. Okay.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Why you exit out of this?
And
end.
goodbye.